Hi friends, Marley here and welcome back to my channel. This video is about the volunteer plants. There are so many volunteer plants in my garden and I would like to show you the types of volunteer plants that I chose to keep in my garden and the reason why I am keeping them. The first one is tomatoes, and this is one of the tomatoes that volunteered. So what is a volunteer plant? A volunteer plant is a plant that you did not intentionally plant in your garden. These volunteer plants came from the seeds that were dropped the previous year, or maybe seeds carried by the birds. So here is another tomato plant that has started producing. This looks like a cherry tomato, and then we have some more in here. I don't think this is cherry because it has started growing bigger. I think this is purple bumblebee because I had purple bumblebee in this bed last year. Now this bed where I planted the onions also have a lot of tomatoes. The primary reason why I left these volunteer tomatoes in here is I wanted to save one tomato that I really like. It's the purple type of tomato, and I believe it's in here. I think this one is the purple type. Now whenever I harvest the onions, these tomatoes will stay in here, so I'm just gonna stake them. So it's a win-win for me because after harvesting my onions, I already have some plants that are already growing and they will be producing for me also. Here's another purple tomato. This raised bed is planted with potatoes and onions, and we also have a lot of volunteer tomatoes in this bed. Last year I planted some geranium kiss tomatoes. They are the smaller types of tomatoes that can grow only up to between 2 to 3 feet tall, and they are a container variety. And look at that, guys, they are also producing. Now if we go on this side, here's another one that has some fruits, and lots of them have flowers and they have set some fruits as well. Now this one right here is a different variety of tomato, also a volunteer, and look at how healthy these tomato plants are. We have some more here and more right here, and look at that, very beautiful. This tomato plant decided to grow in the path and I just let it grow. I didn't even do anything to it. Look at that, guys. Isn't that amazing? Nature does its own work, and this is what we want. One of the most exciting plants that I have in here, and also a volunteer, is a cherry tomato that grew next to my chicken coop. This was the first tomato plant. Actually, there are two of them, and let's take a look at this, guys. Look at the bottom of it. We have our first ripe cherry tomato that came from a volunteer plant. It has a lot of fruits. See that? There's a lot right here, and some more. So if you can see that, and then over there, look at all of these beautiful fruits that are waiting to ripen. Here's another one that I chose to keep. There were a few tomatoes that grew in here and I kept one, and I put a cage on that tomato plant, and right now it has grown really big. Look at that. This one is almost 5 feet tall, and it also has some fruits. We have this, and then we have some fruits down there, and then there are some right here. Where is it? Right there. And then up here there's more. This one is just loaded with green tomatoes, and my chickens are ready to have them. I am very glad that there are so many volunteer tomatoes in my garden, because this year my tomato seedlings are not doing good. Most of my tomato seedlings grown indoors were affected by a herbicide damage. And as you can see, this one that I planted a few days ago are still showing the curly leaves that looks like a herbicide damage. So I planted a few of them. Now this one is beef steak, and I wanted beef steak, so I'm trying to save them. These are the ones I grew from seeds. These are the ones I grew from seeds, but they were here for they've been here for over a month. But I'm gonna show you the volunteers over here. So guys, if you look at this, that is a volunteer plant that I pulled from my front yard. And let's compare that to the tomatoes that I started from seeds. And these were planted in the ground about 3 or 4 days ago. So they're not here for a long time yet. But look at these volunteer tomato plants. Aren't they beautiful? They have grown about, the tallest is about 3 feet. The shortest a little bit over a foot. And they are looking so amazing. We have another row of volunteer tomatoes that I transplanted into my garden. Here we go. And this one is one of my favorite. Look at that. The only downside to volunteer tomatoes is that it's hard to tell what variety it is. So you're gonna have to wait for the tomato to bear fruits so you know what variety it is. But I mean, if you have the room and if you need more seedlings, volunteer is the way to go, because it is free and we like free plants. Aside from tomatoes, we also have a lot of volunteer flowers. One of them is bachelor's button, and we have plenty of this purple bachelor's button. We have the light pink variety. There's one that's a purple, oh, that is blue, and then we have another purple variety of bachelor's button. We also have some volunteer sunflowers, and this is one of the volunteer sunflowers that we have. This is the bigger sunflower, single head, mammoth sunflower, that's what we call this. But I'm going to show you one that is really huge. This is another mammoth sunflower, guys. Look at that. It has started forming a sunflower head up there, and the height of this plant is already over 6 feet tall. That's how big that plant is. And it's really amazing because I did not spend time to plant it. It started growing in there, and I let it do what it wanted to do, and nature took care of it. These are another volunteer sunflowers. These are called the evening sunflower, and they're supposed to form some branches. So they branch out. They're really super beautiful. Look at that. Lots of sunflowers in here. I was gonna transfer them, but I decided to just let them grow where they started growing. Also a couple of evening sunflowers in here. Volunteers. I transplanted them here because I wanted 2 sunflowers on the entrance of the garden. Aside from sunflowers, we have a lot of marigold, and marigold is one of my favorite flowers in the garden, by the way, because they deter pests. And look at that, guys. Marigolds bloom until the fall, like until the frost kills them. And look at that, lots of marigolds in here, all volunteers. In fact, the marigolds are found all over my garden. Zinnias are one of the most amazing volunteer plants in my garden as well, and I have all kinds of colors. This one's red, there is pink, we have red and pink right there. They grow everywhere. One decided to grow next to the raised bed, so it's trapped under the netting, and it's yellow. We have more pink and red here. Now this one, I don't know what color it is, but it's kind of like orangey pink something. Now this one is just pure yellow. This one is like a bronze color, dark orange, brown, whatever you call it. And then here we have a lot more light yellow with a pink center. We have more red, we have light pink, more beautiful marigolds right there, or beautiful zinnias, I mean. And look at this one. That is pink, but the center is yellow. No, the center is dark pink. It's pink on the outer side, and then inner second layer is yellow, center layer is pink. Aren't they beautiful? Ooh, look at that. Here I decided to let one volunteer watermelon grow. This is a volunteer watermelon. The reason why I wanted to keep it is because these are just potatoes in here, and then I have lots of tomatoes, but then there is an arched trellis that's not planted yet, supposed to be for cucumbers, but I don't have the cucumbers yet, and so I decided to just let this melon grow, and then I'm going to take one or two vines to go towards the trellis, and then it can go up the arch, and that will look so beautiful. Here we have a volunteer peanut plant. This is one of those that I decided to keep. We had so many volunteer peanuts, but I decided to get rid of some of them because I wanted other plants. So you don't really have to keep the volunteers. If you want, you can get rid of them. Now over here, I decided to keep a volunteer Malabar spinach. This one is a Malabar spinach. And I have a couple of them growing in this bed as well that I want to grow and climb up this trellis. There were a lot of volunteer cantaloupe in this bed, but I decided to get rid of them. I left one volunteer marigold on the bed because it looks beautiful. Now this one right here, a really tall plant, a bolted lettuce, that's also a volunteer. We even harvested lettuce from the path of the garden. Another volunteer that we have, like we have so much of them, is this one, the carrot plants. And I'm gonna show you the ones that I left. We've harvested most of them. This is another volunteer carrot plant. Another beautiful volunteer plants that we have are the herbs. So look at this one, guys. This is the dill plant that decided to grow outside of the raised bed. So this one is a path. This big bush here is oregano, and we have this dill plant that is over 2 feet tall. That looks good. We have a lot more dill on the other side. We stepped on some of them. This little one has survived, and I have decided to transplant some of the dill into the herb raised bed, and this is one of them. It has grown taller already, and in fact it has formed some flowers. This is also dill, and there's one right here that is also the dill plant, and here's another one. For me, volunteer plants are so amazing because they grow on their own, they take care of themselves, and because the nature takes care of them, the volunteer plants usually are stronger plants. If the seeds grow on their own, they survive the winter, and then they grow and produce without my help, then that's gonna be an amazing thing that happens in my garden. If you enjoyed this video, click like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you'll never miss a video. Thank you for watching and happy gardening!